Hey everybody, there's nothing like a hot delicious bowl of chicken and dumplings on a cold rainy night like tonight. And this video I'm going to demonstrate how I make my chicken and dumplings. These are a basic recipe that's very delicious. It's primarily flour based, very easy to make. So let's go and get started. Behind me I already have cooked a chicken leg quarter. I let it boil for I guess about an hour or so till the chicken was real tender and about to fall off the bone. So now I'm going to go ahead and start making the dumplings. So what you'll need for that is all-purpose flour, some baking soda, garlic powder, and a cup and a quarter of broth from the cooked chicken. So go ahead and scoop out 4 cups, 4 good, well-packed cups of flour. Put it into a large size bowl. Okay, so next we'll go ahead and put in just a little bit of baking soda. Don't need a whole lot. Just a little bit. And we'll sprinkle in some garlic powder. And I don't have any set amount on these 2 items. It's just pretty much as you go, more or less. So now I'll go ahead and get that mixed up real well. And we'll start adding in the broth. Okay, so now I'll go ahead and start adding in the broth. And now let's do it gradually. I don't pour it all in at once. And sometimes you may have to add more of the broth or water, or sometimes you have to add more flour. It kind of depends. But you want a dough that is not too sticky, however at the same time not too flaky. Add the rest of this in there. Just take your time with it. Sometimes I get a little impatient dealing with this. Really, to be honest, the thing that kind of throws it off every time is the amount of flour. It's hard to get flour exactly right unless you like weigh it. The thing is, if it's too flaky, it's hard to roll out without breaking all the pieces. And if it's too sticky, well, it'll just end up sticking to your rolling pin. So that's what we're getting right now. So I'm going to add in some additional broth. Sometimes it doesn't hurt to go with 1.5 cups, but other times it seems like just 1 cup itself is enough. Go with 1/4 cup. Additional. Okay, it's looking a little better now, so it'll still be probably on the flaky side, but we'll make do with it. Just trying to knead it together. Okay, so before we dump the dough, we want to go ahead and flour the table a little bit, or any surface that you're using. You're going to need a pretty good sized surface, probably a 3 foot by 3 foot size surface. And I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video, this actually makes a really big makes a really big amount, so it'll be enough to feed. I'd say it'd be enough to feed 4 people, and probably enough for seconds. So, which is me, I have a whole lot left over, which I'm not going to complain about. So, let's go ahead and dump some flour out here, not too much. Try to spread it out some here. Oh, I forgot to mention this is a pretty messy thing. So, but it's worth it, in my opinion. Yeah, this This method is very similar to how my grandmother made dumplings when I was a kid. Okay, so we'll go ahead and dump this out here. And you can see it's still pretty flaky in areas, but I think it's going to be okay to work with. Go ahead and knead it down just a little bit. Really, to be honest, I prefer it be too flaky than too doughy. And since we still have some leftover flour in here, we'll just dump that on top. Otherwise, you would want to add some flour to the top of this, especially in the case if yours turns out a little too doughy. Now I'm going to get a rolling pin, and we'll roll the dumplings out. And if your mixture is too doughy, in addition to topping the dough with flour, it wouldn't hurt to add some flour directly to your rolling pin. So we're going to go ahead and roll these out here. And here you can probably see why we need a pretty good size area to roll these out on, because it gets pretty big. You don't want to roll them too thin, but I'd say that there's pretty good. It's about probably that much, about half a centimeter probably. You want to set our pin to the side. We're most likely done with it. Now what we need to do is take a pizza cutter. And if you don't have a pizza cutter, anything flat, anything flat that you could use to mash down would also work. So we're going to slice these up into squares, probably, let's say probably an inch by an inch or inch by inch and a half. See, they will get noticeably bigger once you add them to the mixture. Okay, so now we're just going to let these sit for a little while, and they'll be ready to add to the mixture. Okay, so next we'll go ahead and remove the chicken leg quarter from the pot. And go ahead and straight it up and remove the chicken from the bone. And personally, I actually leave the skin intact, and I just peel it apart like this. So I don't remove the skin before shredding the meat off the bone. Now, of course, if you need to, you could use like boneless chicken breast, but you won't. It doesn't seem to have as much flavor compared to when you use a chicken leg quarter. Okay, so now that I have peeled the meat from the bone, I've discarded the bone, and we'll go and add this back into the pot. And since a majority of the water, or a good bit of the water, was lost from boiling and also from what I used in the dumpling mixture, I need to go and add some water back. I'd say about halfway up this pot would be sufficient. You'll need to go ahead and bring this mixture to a boil. And what we'll add now is some Better Than Bouillon. This is a nice substitute for bouillon cubes. Has a lot better flavor. You can get this stuff at some grocery stores. I'm not sure if Walmart even carries this or not. I always had to get it at Food Line. And the way this stuff works is 1 teaspoon of Better Than Bouillon is the equivalent of 1 bouillon cube. And I recommend this stuff over just bouillon cubes because this stuff has a lot more flavor to it. I usually add about 4 teaspoons to it. So as this stuff is coming to a boil, I'll go ahead and start adding it. Okay, now that the mixture has come to a boil, we'll reduce it to medium heat. And now it's time to go ahead and start adding the dumplings. And to do that, I use a spatula. What I'll do is I'll slide the table over closer to the stove. And drop the dumplings in. Okay, everybody, so the dumplings have thickened up. And I should mention it's important to stir them occasionally, make sure that way they don't get stuck to the pan. This pan's usually not too bad for it, but some pans could be pretty bad for dumplings sticking to the bottom. I briefly had to increase the heat just for a moment to get things going, and I turned the heat back down, and now they're done. They're ready to enjoy. Okay, so all that's left to do now is enjoy them. I should mention that these will store up to a week in the refrigerator. As if you're like me, just fixing to for yourself for a small family, you'll likely have leftovers. And of course, when you're ready to reheat them, just put them back in a pot and heat them up on a stove. I don't suggest heating them up in the microwave. It's like you always have cold spots. Anyways, that's how I make chicken and dumplings. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.